Hello, I am Donovan Coen, and this is RBTV. Today I'll be interviewing Al Sheffler. Al, introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Al Sheffler. I have a PhD in aerospace engineering, and now I'm retired, but we'll be talking about what led, I went through in my business.
Yes. Can you please tell us what your inspiration for being an aerospace engineer was?
Oh, it goes way back to when I was growing up. We didn't have a lot of money, and so we built a lot of things ourselves. If you need a workbench, you build it yourself. And so I just got into the mode of building things, designing things, and by the time I was about 16, I was looking forward to, off to college, but it's going to be engineering of some kind. And then I was looking through that as to what type of engineering. And there's mechanical, but then there's this aerospace. And what they offered was, I wanted a challenge, and it looked like things that could fly into air and fly into space could be a good challenge, because they have to be lightweight, and they have to be strong, and they have to work. You can't get to fix them. And so I was looking forward to the challenge, and that's why I chose aerospace engineering. And I don't know, should I go off into the schools or whatever you would like?
Okay, can you please describe what you have done?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I worked at, after graduate school and getting my PhD and all of that work, and in fact, there's a story in that maybe I should go back a bit and tell you about my school.
Okay.
Because when I, applied to colleges, you have to take an SAT exam.
Okay.
And the night before, a couple of buddies and we went out to play miniature golf to relax.
Yes.
And guy standing in front of me put the club up over his shoulder, and it hit me right in the mouth, knocked out my 2 front teeth. The night before the SATs. So I was in considerable pain, but I thought I don't want to miss that opportunity. So I showed up the next morning and took the exam. Needless to say, my score was bad. And then I applied to the schools that I wanted to go, and the first one was Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. And I went down and interviewed the assistant dean of engineering, and he was very reserved and ended up with, well, if we think you're good enough, we might let you in. And I walked out of there saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this place. And so then I went off to Notre Dame, and the interview there went well, and they ended up was, certainly, we have a place for you. And so they looked at things differently, and I liked their positive attitude. So that got me into all the degrees that I got, which are 2 bachelor degrees, one in math, one in engineering, a master's in engineering, and then the PhD in engineering. So that's how I worked through the school portion of this. And now your second comment was as to what I did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, for the first about 20 years of my career, right after I got out of grad school, I was working for 2 different companies. The first one was RCA in New Jersey, and we developed commercial communication satellites. These were in space, and they would receive a signal from the ground, send it to another satellite, bring it down over here, and could do all kinds of communication work. But the satellite had to be a very good design, very lightweight, so that it could get as much fuel in, so it could last a long time in space. And so I was pushing those designs through. And then after the 20 years there, and it was with GE was the second company, I decided to start my own company as a consultant. And that took me, assignments on that were like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years was a long assignment. And in various states around the United States and hopping over to various countries. So it was a very active period of time, and I enjoyed it a great deal. So let's see, then that pretty much wraps up how I got into what I had been doing. Now I've been retired for the last 6 years. It feels like 7. And enjoying the quiet time. It's a very good feeling at this point.
Okay. What are your career highlights and like things you missed?
Oh, highlights. What comes to mind there are actually 2 awards. One was I was named a member in the AIAA, the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. And in that, they reviewed the work that I had done and invited me in as an associate member in that group. And that's one that really sticks. I enjoyed that. And the second one was I got a patent on some of the work that I had been doing in designing satellites, but then designing a way of launching these satellites from the space shuttle, and multiple ones, so that they could still keep their alignment and everything out of that and get to the spot they need to go. And so that patent was a warm spot in my heart.
Okay. Is there any recommendations about anything you can say to like students?
Oh, yes. The short way to say it is be honest with yourself. Decide what you want to do, what kind of work that you would like to get into, and what you're capable of doing, and then take those classes, whether they're math and science or whatever you like. But the core of that is to be honest with yourself in making those decisions.
Okay. Is there anything that is communications important to this?
Oh, absolutely, both verbal and written. In verbal communications, it's giving presentations, and at meetings, giving a talk, coordinating people. And in the verbal portion of it, the most important part is not only presenting, but listening. Okay. And recording in your head what you're hearing, and act on that. And the written portion of it is that's certainly important. You have to do that, writing reports all over the time. Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap it up. So.
Oh.
Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. That was So that was it, and yeah. Thank you for watching.